Sprites. I'm gonna let you know, I'm like super low energy today. The fucking burger fiasco yesterday completely fucked up my sleep schedule. Yeah. I'm probably not gonna crash, but it's gonna be weird. Oh, and you're so dead.
Lucky number Sweven.
What?
It's 7 o'clock.
Ah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just being weird.
I think I might not have muted myself in the before time, but whatever.
You know, you accidentally leave yourself muted for Dead Space. You just don't mute yourself for what's up. We're just tradesying. Karmic balance. Nobody in chat's yelling like they can hear us, so meh.
The music was intentional, I will say, though. Give you something lovely, lovely people to listen to.
Which reminds me about people listening. Gooch into announcements. Say we're live. Get the whole thing going with the people and the stuff. Gooch my preview forward because it's doing that weird thing again. Anyway, hello, welcome to What's Up. Before I goop out too much, let me remind you the episode is brought to you by our patrons, our lovely patrons who help support us. We thank you a lot. Your names include, but are not limited to, Adam DeHarp, Architect 10, Blackest OG, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Ice Icebird, Jeremy Vasquez, Just the Fate, John Sandoval, Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Charvor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob, Siren 23, and Baron the Crow. If you like what we do, want to see more, consider supporting us on Patreon. So yeah, it's gonna be a weird one today, y'all. Like he was saying in the before times, possibly for nobody but me to hear. We're just not sure. That the burger incident from yesterday has left him a little weirded out, and I myself have not been feeling super great today. My stomach's been bothering me a little, so I haven't eaten dinner yet. So we're gonna be a little weird. Oh yes, there is a title to this video. I hope it's not 100% true, because I do actually, occasionally want... Occasionally. Nah, it's kidding. I do actually, honestly, usually want any input Lucky has on a topic.
What was that, huh?
You just don't always get input. I can't tell if that's intentional or not. Is it a gag? Is it a goof? I don't know. Anyway, I want to bring this up now, hopefully before you get into anything super duper intense, because I know that, the video has a title, but actually, you were saying some stuff on Twitter before we got live.
Oh, yeah.
That I thought was interesting, and I have my own thoughts to bounce back on that, but I, wanted to kind of, right off the top here, pull it up and be like, hey, do you want to reiterate that for the people in the time? Mostly about the video guides comment you had, because that got me think about stuff.
Well, yeah, so, like I said, I play Final Fantasy XIV on a semi-regular basis. I'm usually clocking in, 3 to 4 good sessions a week. I don't play, every day, but if someone needs me, or if I feel like I have a particular itch to get something done, I'll log in and take care of it. For example, last night, after I awoke from my burger coma, which is the only thing I can fucking call it, I got a hair at my ass, and I decided to go work on this lovely Gunblade weapon, which you have to get, fight Ruby weapon to get parts of, and then you have to go do a bunch of other stuff. Because I was like, no, this is sick. I need this in my life.
It is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And so that's how I usually play a lot of things. But as I am trying to push for, harder and harder content, even unsynced, a lot of people are always telling you before you do anything, go watch a video, go watch a guide. And, honestly, that's fair. I mean, you want people to be forewarned and forearmed, so you people know what they're doing when they get into things. But I have a bit of a problem with watching guides. So first off, well, actually, let me pull up my tweet because I think I summarized that fairly well.
Yeah, you had a pretty good couple of tweets.
Yeah. Let me see here.
While you're pulling that up, I will say it's interesting to hear that even about unsynced content that people are like, oh, before you do this thing, presumably for the first time, you should watch a guide first. That always reads as a little weird to me. Like, on the one hand, I understand the idea that everybody should know what they're doing and, be doing their part to contribute to the whole process. We're all a team and everything,
Well,
I've talked a lot with you guys about the teamwork aspect of it and making sure that you are aware of what's going to happen so you don't, bring anybody down. But also, that's weird from a game design standpoint. Like, somebody has to do it for the first time without seeing anything,
Oh, yeah, well, that's the race to the world's first and all that stuff. And people who get done first can make guides and then put those videos online and then have people watch their guides and, generate fucking, ad rev and stuff. But...
yeah.
So, like, the first reason I mentioned is I'm just gonna be straight up. I'm dumb. I'm not that good at mechanics. I'm really not. Like, every mechanic that I am good at dealing with is because it's either because of rote memorization or I have been literally sandblasted by this mechanic so much that it is ingrained into my blood. That's usually how I learn things. Is I beat my head against the wall until the wall breaks. But when people tell me that I need to go watch a guide, I have to go watch this guide 5 times, and even then, it's not gonna fucking stick until I die 10 times to the mechanic. So I'm just wasting my time with this guide. Not to mention, these guides can run from anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes as they explain every individual bit, and I'm like, I don't need all that. Some of the stuff is pretty obvious and I don't need to worry about it. I'm usually more worried about, the team wipe mechanics that, that you fuck up on, kills everybody and you have to start over. Those are usually things that are going to get me. I don't have to worry about the tank buster. I don't have to worry about the raid wipe damage. Those are unavoidable or not my fucking problem. I have to worry about when I have to stack 6 times and collect the set 4 pieces of Mechadakistan to fucking, stop the fucking AoE death. That's what concerns me, but, videos don't really do that. They just want you to watch the whole fucking thing, and I'm just like, I don't. This is why I prefer, text and images that I can just quickly scan or go to one place, and I can read and, install into my brain a lot faster than watch this person telling me about the same bit. Especially when I have to listen to it again, and then I have to go clicking through the video to find where in this video this one bit was. And nobody in the fucking comments tell me, oh, go watch this series. This is great. No, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I think that's not going to be helpful, if people in the comments being like, oh, well, try this. That's not going to be helpful unless that person is not doing this for ad rev and is actively fucking themselves over. If you've ever wondered, Internet, why it seems like every video guide on everything is at least 8 minutes long, that's because how long you need to have mid-roll, which means you make more ad rev and YouTube shows your videos more. Which is, I think, one of the problems you're talking about that I have definitely noticed about not just 14, but everything. Everybody tries and, crams a little bit extra padding into their video so they can make mid-rolls. And it means that videos often are very slow and methodical to buy time.
But, and this is more of a personal gripe when it comes to guide videos. No matter what, YouTube's always been a bit quiet for me, just in general. So when I want to, I don't actually watch a lot of YouTube videos unless I get a particular itch for something. I'm pretty sure if Omega had checks the YouTube history anywhere in the past couple weeks, he'll find the 4th PV of Blue Archive just somewhere near the top.
Yeah, it's just somewhere in there.
It's somewhere in there. You know, but that's just like music mostly and Japanese, which, you know, I can't fully understand, so I don't need to fully parse it. If someone is speaking English to me, I have to turn off the sound to Final Fantasy, I have to turn off the sound to Discord, I have to turn off the sounds to my PC, I have to turn off my TV. I'm just like, I have to mute everything in like a mile fucking radius just so I can hear this person talk to me to give me information I don't fully need over a long period of time that I am wasting where I could be doing other things. I'm just like, no, I don't like this. I don't like this. But, and this is the thing about the community, you gotta watch those videos because people don't like it when you go in, like, me, I am perfectly okay with taking a bunch of guys and just throwing ourselves against the fucking wall and seeing what sticks and learning as we go. Personally, I love that. I don't remember, I think it was sometime this last week, but, I know it was me and Law, and I'm pretty sure Axe came along, and maybe, yeah, and Alter did too, because, we were, working on Burbs, for people, and I was just like, hey, do you guys just want to go like slap Delta Savage for a hot minute and, you know, just like experience that life? And it was hell. We died constantly, but I was having the greatest fucking time as we're trying to remember or learning these mechanics. And, you know, I am not against that. I would rather waste my time. I would rather, yeah, Lotha showing that he is the most powerful fucking Lalafell on this goddamn earth.
Loth is a beast. He's carried us a couple of times doing some of the stuff as well.
Oh yeah, Lotha's mentioning it in the challenge.
Fights.
But like doing that, like throwing ourselves against, you know, this thing and just learning it bit by bit, discussing what we did wrong, what we need to do, what we can try. Like, I enjoy that. I like doing that. Like, failing with friends is a lot more by succeeding. To me, failing with friends is a lot better than succeeding with strangers. Someone quote me on that shit.
Yeah, put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt.
And I think I agree. Like, when we do off-stream stuff, like we run, you know, helping me unlock more dungeons and duties so I can be in more roulettes in future, whether that's for me or for other people. Or like when we, you know, farmed horses and stuff. Doing that unsynced. Yeah, am I personally, you know, me as only like level 59 contributing a lot to our unsynced farmings of primals? Technically, I guess the content is, you know, some of this is designed for you to be level 50-ish, so it's not
I don't want to do that on
crazy
stream.
bad, but it's definitely like, no, I have a fun time because we're all together shooting the shit, not because, like, you know, we're actually, you know, doing a lot. There's a little bit of, like, brain of, like, okay, can we maximize enough damage to kill this guy before he does any of his weird shit? And if he doesn't, well, whatever. You know, we're just having fun, right?
Right.
We're just fucking around. And I definitely feel like there's room for that in the game design of 14. And obviously, like, a lot of my 14 experience has been shaped by what you and Loth and some of the others told me about the game before I started playing it. And then obviously when we stream it, which is where I spend a bulk of my, like, core gameplay, you know, MSQs and mandatory stuff is on stream. You guys are usually with me and I, you know, take a lot of what you guys do. But I kind of feel like that's the reason why we're all here, is because some of that gameplay stuff clicks with us. And I do honestly have a lot more fun just, like, jumping into it. And I usually, when we're doing a new, you know, a boss fight or a dungeon or whatever, I ask before we get started, hey, is there anything I need to know? And if, you know, Loth and Lucky turn to me and say, nah, it's fine, you know how to push buttons, I'm like, okay, we're pushing buttons, let's go. And then, you know, if something comes up, you guys will yell at me, and I'll most of the time I remember what to do, and sometimes I don't. I remember accidentally jumping backwards into an attack against Midgard Stormer. I was like, how the fuck did I get turned around? Well, whatever. I didn't die, at least. Yeah, lots to bring it up. Leviathan being the captain. All of us getting thrown into the ocean so many times. I think everybody got yeeted into the ocean at least once trying to farm Water Horse.
Oh, yeah. And, like, that's the thing, like, I've been playing this game for years, and I am nowhere the perfectionist of some people expect me to be for being up here. Like, I fuck up all the time. I forget mechanics. Yesterday I was doing, oh god, what's the name of the actual thing? Fuck it, you can know it. I was doing Titania Extreme, and I was all like, people were like, I had to relearn old mechanics and learn new mechanics, because apparently there's a way to skip the ads fades in there, and I was all like, oh shit. Which involves actually stopping attacking and then restarting at certain points. It's just like, Jesus. You know, thankfully they just explained it to me in the thing rather than not. Luckily, Titania Extreme is actually pretty damn easy as long as you get through a couple mechanics.
Yeah, and that's always nicer when people would just be like, whether that's in a VC or in the like group chat, you know, the global chat or the party chat or whatever, being like, hey, here's what we're doing. When this happens, don't do this. When this happens, do this. That's, I think, a decent amount of people learn better that way. I don't have whatever specific is going on with you with YouTube seeming soft, but hopefully chat has realized through my many, many hours of streaming I've done on many video games, including Final Fantasy XIV, that like processing English in 2 channels is hard for me. So if you've ever seen me like stare at a dialogue box for a long time, it's probably because I haven't read that dialogue box as we're talking, or like,
speaking of Titania,
Axe will try and tell me shit as a preemptive pro tip, and I'll be like, hold on, Axe, I was thinking of something else. What did you say? My brain, like, I can't grab the English in 2 ways. Like, I'm a decent multitasker with some things, but usually that has to be like, I can listen to complex audio and I can like move my hands at the same time. So if I'm trying to like audio multiple times, I can't. What was that? What'd you got?
Well, speaking of Titania, I'm gonna go fighter. Spoilers, I guess, but like I said, this is Shadowbringers. This shit's like 2 years old now. Yeah. And I need those dancing wings. I don't want to go spend fucking 500K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Axe wants a fucking beaver. I'm gonna get him a fucking beaver.
Sick. And actually, you know, speaking of 14 and stuff, I was wondering, depending on how we are today, if we wanted to maybe have free time to do some more horsing around, or
I mean, I'm down.
I know we talked about doing some PvP. I want to say I don't want to do anything. I think Axe has first dibs on trying to. He wants to wrap up some Shadowbringers content and get through that, and may need some help with some of that, which obviously I can't contribute to. But depending on how long that takes, like I don't want to feel like I'm using my position in the channel to like cut out Axe on something.
No, the only thing that Axe is gonna need help on probably is he's gonna have to do a dungeon and then a trial, and he's gonna be
in 5 million hours of cutscenes.
I mean, real talk, it's the finale of Shadowbringers. Yes, it's 5 million hours of cutscene, but you're gonna be on the floor the entire time.
No, it sounds about right. I mean, I'm still doing the bridge stuff to Heavensward, and there were some long cutscene segments where I don't remember what you and Loth were doing, but like you guys were doing something on the side, and I'm just watching cutscenes being quiet here, eating my sadness popcorn. Though I will say I don't want to.
Oh man, that person just went straight at it. Okay. This is why I don't like playing with strangers. You can't yell at strangers. They don't fucking care.
Well, we're working on getting the group together.
Yeah, actually, after the stream Wednesday, I actually bitched about everyone to everyone in the VC. Because I was actually having the idea of actually making a separate Discord for the crows, and it didn't get a lot of traction, so I don't think it's actually going to go anywhere. Because, like I said, failing with friends is a lot better than succeeding with strangers, but even with all the friends I have here, it's not enough to attempt a lot of in-game content.
No, not yet.
Not yet, so... Because I think, like, personally, I don't know about other things, but I find it a little weird... Oh, I gotta get in here. I find it a little weird, to that if, I met someone in Final Fantasy 14 that and I said we had like a Discord channel that we can talk, that I brought them to the studio and make a Discord, which is not a Final Fantasy Discord. It's
No. And if that's like what you're I was gonna ask what your pros and cons were there. If that's what you're thinking of, like, then yeah, technically that's probably is better to set up a dedicated like FC Discord so that you can like recruit people there, and then also say, hey, sometimes we stream stuff.
Yeah, but like the problem is though, like like I said, it didn't have a lot of traction. Some people were into it, some were not, and like people don't really seem necessarily jazzed about growing the. That's not what I wanted. Give me this. Well, someone got a fucking dragon. It wasn't me. I don't need it anymore. People didn't seem particularly jazzed about being more serious about, doing content and stuff. People like the casual feel and stuff, which, I don't want to ruin that.
No, there's a lot of people who play the game casually.
Yeah,
I think I'm arguably in that space as well.
But God, like I've been looking into things. Like, if you want to actually have your free company grow as a group, you have to have like, I don't want to necessarily say resources, but you have to have certain tchotchkes. Like, you got to have a house, you got to have a Discord, It's like those seems to be the two things, so you can plan things off game and in game.
It sounds about right. Like, yeah, like you said, resources probably isn't the right word for it, but just coordination. Like, you get your free company stuff going when people like feel like they have a space where they can jump on dedicated and be like, hey, like Axe does in our dedicated Crow area, like, hey, want to help me with this raid or whatever. Or when we talk through like I just said, like I was gonna bring up like, hey, do we want to go farm the last horse? That we've been doing a lot of the horsing and stuff.
Yeah, no, actually, what I'm gonna do for right now, instead of doing a fully separate one, is I think I'm actually just gonna make a Crow's Nest category and just make additional text and voice channels specifically pertaining to that. Just to see,
seems fair.
Like I said, it's a bit of a compromise between just to see if I can, oops, I was an idiot. See if I can, set a groundwork for it, I suppose, before moving on to something bigger.
Yeah. I mean, from the server side, I'm not opposed to that. I think that's a good compromise for the moment. I'm also not opposed to a separate Discord channel and getting in there myself eventually. Obviously, I'm not part of the free company right now, and that's because I'm still only on the free trial, and I genuinely do not know how much longer that will be. We've talked about this a little, but I am approaching the level cap for the free trial, even though I have not started Heavensward yet. They give you so much free XP. And I think when I started this process of like, okay, I'm going to download the free trial, it's on PS5, I'm going to play the game, I'm going to keep going, right?
Yeah.
I talked about probably not getting the full version of the game until I was all out of free trial to trial. Some of that was like, I've been talking back and forth about budgeting for a newer PC. Well, just so you know, chat community, I have actually been doing a little bit of my research, and unfortunately, from looking around, a lot of the when you ask the question of like, hey, what's a really good PC for like streaming games and doing video production and stuff, a lot of the like best in class PCs that people are recommending are still a little out of my current budget range. Usually that's 2K plus.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be several months before that's in my budget range. So now it's just the process of like picking what compromises I want to make, right?
Right.
But paying for the full version of Final Fantasy 14 and, keeping up with my sub and stuff would not necessarily impact that budgeting at this point. So I'm actually wondering, like, if whether that's, next week or whatever, it's probably time to just go ahead and slide that one in there. Because then I would have access to, the free company. I would have no guild cap, level uncapped to 90. Can you access some of the newer expat classes right away as well? Like, I know that the Heaven's Word classes they added are locked until you actually reach Heaven's Word, but some of the newer ones are not that way, right?
I don't remember. Because if I remember correctly, I think you have to be level 50 for Red Mage, but I don't know if you actually have to be in Stormblood for that.
Yeah, there's been some back and forth. So, like, it would be a net positive. I guess the question right now is I should ask you in the group. Like, I know it's, like, so many days of playtime. It's not like a month. But is it, you know, like, worth it to start your sub in the middle of the month, you know, because it is days based, and it's probably fine.
I mean, like, it's just a straight up month, like 30 days. So
yeah. In February, that might be a little awkward because of the less days, but I guess that gives me more time on the back end. So yeah, like I said, I've been thinking these thoughts. It's funny. We discussed this, I think, either last stream or 2 streams ago. Even if I did have the full version and could be in the free company, I don't think I could go to the free company house yet.
no, unfortunately, yes, no. Imperium is literally locked about. Oh, thank you, Chris Starlight, for the equipment fund. Imperium is locked behind. Oh God, what was it? Axe being, what's the word I want to say? No,
Axe really wants me to play a lot. Listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't play more. Like, I'd probably play. If I had access to new classes, I would probably play the leveling grind a little by myself. But I want to say this. Like, Lucky, you've been talking about, you know, failing with friends is better than succeeding with strangers. I mean, like, I have played 14 a little for some, like, cleanup stuff, or, like, when we've been in the VC, I have done some minor solo stuff to set up, like, unlocking quests and things. But
sick.
I do really prefer to play this game, like, with you guys around to just, you know, kill time. I can play it by myself, but I feel like it's better if it's a social experience.
Oh,
Like, I could play Marrow Trauma solo. I don't want to do that, though. I think it's more fun when we play our Barrow Trauma campaign that we have, you know, and we're all together, and we can get fucking eaten by ballast flora.
actually, that bangs me, Meg. Do you think, like, I'm still slowly chipping away at our fucking Barrow Trial highlights, and I'm about to hit 10 minutes. Do you want me to just do 10-minute chunks and just post those as they come, or you want me to keep...
Sure. I know you talked about, like, 30 minutes, but if you, that is to talk about the algorithm. That's longer than the mid-roll count, so if you want to try a 10-minute and just see, you have been chipping away at those, so...
I've been chipping away.
That is your project, so whatever, if it's not too wishy-washy to say, whatever you think is you know, your preferred time management.
Well, like I
If you're
said,
okay with
like,
10, you know, just to try.
Well, I've been thinking about it because, unfortunately, with the way that my life is right now, I've been thinking about a lot of things, almost obsessively so, and it's been affecting me in ways that, well, aren't the healthiest. I've been very depressed recently, and it's been affecting me at work. This is why I keep mentioning, like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose my job here pretty soon. At the very least, I'm gonna get less hours at work. Like, I did some math to figure out how much work I could lose and, you know, still, you know, not, what's the word I want to use? Keel over?
Yeah.
But the thing that's been on my mind a lot recently is, well, just the channel in general. Like... Well, like I said, the problem with coming before is, I think I mentioned this before, is I do not have enough hours in the day to fully focus on having a job, having a social life, and managing this channel. I just don't have the hours.
Yep.
And so it's like I've been having to sit down and think about, okay, what is important to me? What do I want to do? And how do I want to do it? And, you know, I've been, like, looking, you know, at the channel. I've been looking at our content. I've been looking at our views, been looking at the rev, and I'm just like, this is going to sound mean, maybe a little harsh, but honestly, this channel's not doing much.
Yeah, we've, I was just thinking about what's the best way to phrase it. We've plateaued a lot. Now, I've heard from other people that, like, the first couple months of the new year are a little worse off. There's, like, less ad rev generation and stuff, less views to go around per the algorithm. But yeah, no, it's like I've I've joked a little and sometimes been a little serious about the sub count, but we still haven't crossed 3,200. I don't know how or why. Like I joke about to the audience like, hey, if you're a sub to our channel and you tell 2 friends, that would help us out a lot. I don't know if there are enough people who have 2 friends to just tell to throw us a sub or whatever. But yeah, it's a little like all over the place. I've been trying to like figure out, different incentivizes. I feel like, leaning a little more into some of the streaming can help.
Like
Obviously,
personally, I think we need to go to opposite. I think we need to go the opposite of relying on streaming. I think we need to rely on actual videos of content, of clips, highlights, and stuff.
That's true. That's another angle we don't really expand into right now.
Because I've been I've been like looking at creators, looking at stuff. People don't really seem to like long bouts of content that don't have something interesting happening in them constantly. Like, looking at like FPSs and stuff, usually something is always happening. Someone's getting shot, something is happening, or the cast in there is carrying a conversation that people find interesting. This has actually had me questioning me recently, like, am I an interesting person? Am I someone fun to listen to? It's like, are the people around me fun and interesting to listen to? And some of you are, and frankly, some of you aren't. Like Omega, you are interesting, I think, but you have a very bad tendency to get overly technical and with a lot of the stuff you're talking about, and to basically hog the mic when you're talking about it. Axe is kind of the same way, but Axe also doesn't have the social graces that you do and will completely pull over a conversation so we can have an impromptu therapy session with him. I think, like, generally, I think Loth is probably one of the funnier people in our immediate circle because he's gremlin enough to do some stupid shit, but also, a good boy enough that no one really gets mad at him for it.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
He can go too far sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Loth is generally pretty good.
And Dallas is like full gremlin, but it's like so unabashedly gremlin that it's kind of funny. Like suddenly Dallas is a fucking thing. But
yeah, no, it's you wouldn't know because you're not on those streams,
yeah.
But like it is. There's a reason why I bring the joke up about people paying to yell at Dallas. That has happened in our Fail Betrayal streams where Dallas will just have an opinion and we will get a super chat about like contributing to the Dallas's wrong fund or something like that. Like yeah, no, like there's a certain energy to Dallas.
There's a certain energy, but it's like. But the thing is like I'm realizing when we're all in the same room, it doesn't necessarily always mix well. Like I said, like also another thing about you is you get really mad when something doesn't go your way in game. Like, God, like, do you know how many times you bitch about your fucking hands and barrow trauma and not being able to do what you want with them?
Oh, I'm sure a lot. It does really bother me. It's like the only thing I think I really don't like about the game is that my fucking hands get so weird.
Like, yeah. This is what I noticed about myself. Like, I don't get mad at games. I get mad at players. The game can throw all the obstacles it wants at me, and I'm just like, this is just something to overcome. But when my conflict involves a fucking player, that's when I get heated because that's not something I can bowl over.
Yeah, that is true. That is kind of, I think, like we both have a hot mode, and I've talked about this before. Generally, like the reason why I think I get so heated is that's my way of just getting over it faster. Is just to bitch and cuss for like 5 seconds or 5 minutes, depending on how nettled I actually am, and then it's like, okay, I'm over it. Like. If I hold it in too much, that means I sit and stew, which in my life is worse for me. Not always worse for other people, I'm sure, but that's talking about holding in certain things. But yeah, like even if sometimes I feel it, if it's like something that the other person isn't necessarily super in control of, we had a recent Stellaris section where I was getting a little bullied. I feel like I don't actually know, but I did have a what I felt was a slightly higher density than normal of just like, man, there's a lot of rough shit around me. You know, there were a lot of like skull-faced enemies and events and stuff happening in a relative packet, and I got a little heated, probably unnecessarily so. Sometimes even when we're not recording, I feel like I play it up for the group a little. But then there was a point where like we actually finally like crossed territory and realized, and you were very nettled for a little bit about the fact that like our borders were like right there.
Well, yeah,
And I was like, well, I mean, when you were like, I just was like, okay, meh. And you were like, ah, man, what do you mean? I was like, well, genuinely, Lucky, I don't know what to do about that. I did not know you were there, and I'm not in control of our map placement. Sorry.
Yeah, well, like, I'm gonna turn that on the other foot. Like, you're, taking up the airways with your bitching and cussing about these problems you have, and we can't do anything about that. That's just how the game is. Not to mention that everyone here is usually also dealing with the same sort of things. Like,
that is true. I mean, and I don't want to feel like people can't get out there. I know that some of the others in Stellaris feel the outlet.
well, I'm not saying you can't like bitch and you can't bitch and scream about like pirates suddenly, but like I think it's something different to being like motherfucking pirates, opposed to your 5 minutes bitching about pirates, how you can't do anything, and if this fucking thing happens up, you're gonna fucking just rage quit and move on. I think there's a difference.
True. It probably depends on the length of the statement.
Well, like, and the thing with me with like I said, I mentioned this earlier. Like the problem was with me in that game in particular is that Aaron was on my other side.
True, you were boxed in.
So I was boxed in by 2 players. If the one of the people on the side had been an AI, well, like I said, that's an AI. I can bully them into giving me what I want. I don't necessarily have minutes. I can continue on my expansion. But when there's a player on either side of me, that means I have to either talk to you to actually figure out where our limits are going to be, or I'm just going to, have to, go nothing personal, kid, and start beating you up. Which, if I did, like, see, I always feel very weird about being aggressive against other people in games. Like,
yeah, I also feel it's weird because we're all like in the VC, right?
Right. Like, if we're in the like, and honestly, I think it's something I might need to get over and just embrace my inner gremlin. Cause like when I play Stellaris, like I usually don't go in with the intent of conquering or beating up, the other players. I'm usually just there for expansion, hanging out, beating up, slamming them, building cool ships and all that stuff. But at a certain point in the game, all the space is going to be taken up, and you got to figure out what you want to do. So it's like either I can, gear up for war and take what I need and what I want, which comes to another player, or I just sit back and pretty. And I'm like, I'm not sure which one.
I do think with players, there's because there are in Stellaris, there are ways to like give up and trade systems and stuff. With players, there's probably some wiggle room for like negotiating space and stuff.
Yeah,
though that does mean we'd have to settle and actually have those conversations. I mean, I genuinely feel like if you did want to go a little aggro, you'd probably be better off, like, because you, I can say this: you're better at some stuff than I am at things. I feel like you're a lot more confident and a lot better at fast tracking and organizing your naval stuff, even though you usually play pacifist. It's very funny. You're usually a lot more confident and more open in that stuff. Like the reason why I'm usually bitching about like pirates and mining drones and stuff is because when those events hit me in like the tech timeline, usually I'm still pretty low in the power level. So like it's usually like it feels like a very steep level to climb.
Oh yeah.
But whereas you're like, oh, what are those 1K pirates? No problem. I'm like, damn.
Well, honestly, I do put in a lot of extra Stellaris time. So I'm probably gotten more use.
I do want to put more extra Stellaris time in, but I also don't. There's so many games.
Well, I don't know. If you guys want to play Stellaris after this, I'm for it as well.
We could try that.
But
we might want to try a new map because we try to remember. Did we ever figure out if you accidentally did not set the map setting right?
I don't know, but also I'm not sure I saved the map either. Also, I'm not sure I saved the last Barotrauma game either. I think I just quit and didn't save.
Well, we'll find out.
Oh yeah, I never neglect my military power. Well, also there's a reason for this. In Stellaris, you can get something called power projection, which gives you additional influence, and that's based on your how many ships you have. So it's always good to have ships.
Yeah. I probably do need to clock some me time in Stellaris and just figure some stuff out. I've bought like several expansion packs and there's been game updates since I last like had a really long sesh.
Yeah.
I will say, lots talking about neglecting. That depends on the game. In Stellaris, I do think like I usually prioritize my maximum exploration, maximum research speed, so that I can like get the ball rolling on anything. Sometimes that's helpful, sometimes that's not. I usually try and grab like the new ship classes upgrades when they come up because those are really important. But like sometimes I'll skip over weapon tech. But in like Civ, usually I'm playing like Britain, so naval power is like my thing. Though I'm sure Lucky can bring up the many times I have unfortunately been absolutely ball smacked by Civ and just been like, oh look, I have a fucking landlocked sea. Cool. How far are canals?
But like, well, this goes back to the conversation I have that we all have like distinct personalities, and I don't know if that necessarily meshes well in the streams that makes people want to watch them. Because I don't also want to be that guy that's like, all right, we cannot have these people in this stream because, well, that's a dick move. I like playing games with like other people, even if they, you know, piss me off sometimes. You know, there's no bad people here.
Yeah.
But again, it's just one of those things I'm looking at. It's like, I want this channel to grow, and I want to be able to create the things I want to create, show the things I want to show, and still have and be able to pay the things that I needed to pay for. And and the thing is, it's like, because like I said, this is a me and you thing, but I always consider this more of a you thing. Like, because like I said, you're the one who got this started and you got everything here. So I usually try to defer to you to what you want to do and how you want to do things. Because, well, like I said, like, I think it's like you want this to be your career, your life, and all that stuff. Me, I've like, God, a lot of people tell me I've lived like three protagonist stories, like with my job and work history and all the shit I've done. You know, well, again, I don't know how long but I do got like a job and stuff that I can use to support myself financially. So I'm just here to help you try and get this thing off the ground. But you know, I do like
well, and like you said, I think that goes back to like you were talking about like the different time management you've got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can only spend so much time on this versus like your job and then also just you time.
Yeah,
I have a lot more split in this, and yeah, at this point, yeah, I'm trying to make this my career. In general, this started just because like, you know, I was finishing up college, or I was out of college, and like I was doing what everybody does and apply for jobs and not getting anything. And this was just like, this is the stuff I like to do. Whether it's this type of show, you know, the podcasting and just talking. As everybody Lucky just said, I certainly have the power to talk a lot about anything.
Yeah, you do.
But just like I, you know, came up in my life watching a lot of content on YouTube and listening to a lot of podcasts, whether that's, you know, super short videos, super long videos, whatever. But like this, like you said, I like doing this, and I want to be able to do this and also, you know, feed myself and get into the stuff I want to get into with like a life, because that otherwise I would have to find something that I probably enjoy doing less. And you know, I've done some side stuff before, and I've applied for more real jobs, but you know, I am 30 now, and I haven't had a lot of quote unquote real job experience, though I do, you know, file taxes and stuff. But it's still like it's a thing I'm trying to do, and not necessarily lately specifically, but there are often times when I you know, stare at the numbers and I think about stuff. Sometimes I feel like honestly, a lot of slightly bigger creators are a little more nettled at YouTube, probably because that means they've got a lot more writing on this for YouTube to fuckle them. We are occasionally fuckled by YouTube. I have made attempts to try and do the thing with shorts, and YouTube says that you can just like clip a short out of a stream, but whenever I go to do that, it just does not fucking work. And I'm like, YouTube, I want to make this tool you've supposedly got work, and it doesn't. And I don't really... shorts are weird. Okay, guys, having published a couple, they're really weird. I don't even know what like platform you're supposed to be doing them on. I think they're made for you to like record with your phone first.
Oh, they're definitely made to record with your phone. That's why they're in that format.
Well, yeah, they're also meant to play easier on phones. But yeah, no, like I feel like the natural state of shorts is you shoot something on your phone in vertical. But like there's small moments that we could clip out as shorts. Lucky shot me some of those examples in Barotrauma, and I vaguely tried to put some subs over them. I got a little weird, but
yeah, but it's weird because then the perspective's all weird and off and shit.
And then listen, we were learning. I gave it the old college try. They did okay. They're both demonetized because we say fuck so many times in them. Both, like one was a more you and Loth focused moment, and one was just a conversation I had off screen. There was a lot of saying fuck in there though, but they ended up plateauing very hard after a while. But when they were first posted, they shot way up, which was interesting. So I'd like to do more stuff like that, and whether that is more polished edited stuff, like you crack out the old editor Lucky Hat and grab stuff. Obviously, I do occasionally do more produced content like the Wanteds when that's relevant. So that's obviously a little based on like how people feel about the servant. Hey, I talked about this. Muramasa and Kaihio did pretty good. Karen, still very mid. And I don't think I really expected that to go different, but it's all over the place.
It is all over the place. And I think our stuff is all over the place too, and I think we need to tighten it up.
That is probably the point in this process where we're at. We've got our general vibes, and we need to tighten it up. And I've talked, like, you mentioned this a little about because the 14 streams, for instance, were predicated on me putting the I'm playing it for the first time thing in there.
Yeah.
Well, I've been playing it a lot. I have actually talked about this. I have a thumbnail for Heaven's Word made up, and I'm thinking of, like, rebranding it slightly, maybe, like, Studio Omega streams, because there's a lot of us in the DVC.
Yeah.
So, trying to switch that up and make it less about, like, while it will still involve a decent amount of my first-time impressions of, MSQs and stuff on camera, it's also just about this is a definite dedicated day where we can definitely all hang out and do Final Fantasy 14 stuff. And obviously we'll pick up other days, but, branding. Symbolism.
And I think, like, doing something like that would probably generate more interest in it because, well, people might not be as necessarily lost by it, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, like, I know there's something that needs to be done, but I do not have the solution at hand. I have a lot of ideas that can be tried, but, like, I don't know what's gonna stick to the goddamn dartboard or what is gonna be the magic tape that fixes this fucking problem.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with YouTube is, like, you can tell when something's off, but YouTube doesn't necessarily tell you what to do to make it better. So you got to do a lot of experimenting.
Like, this year, I want, like, right now, what I am thinking is I want to set a goal, and I want to figure out the how and why to reach that goal. My goal right now is, like, before this year is out, I want to get us up to 5,000 subscribers. Like, you've been talking about, like, increasing revenue and getting more patrons and stuff, and you're talking about, like, trying to drive up rev with the stream. Personally, I found that was ooh, I just sold something. I sold it for cheap. I thought your process was a little what's the word here? Your thought process was a little skewed. Because you are basically trying to incentivize people to pay for something that not a lot of people watch in the first place.
Well, it is true.
Like I said, like I like streaming, you like streaming, but if we're gonna be real, we do streaming because it's dirt fucking simple. We do not have to do any editing. We don't put a lot of effort into the thumbnails. We just plug in the software and we go. It's dirt simple, so we rely on that for a lot of our stuff. And this shows because a lot of our streams usually don't get any more than like 12 viewers at a time. The only time that this doesn't happen is when we do a Let's Talk FGO stream where we could have anywhere from 30 to 200. Or 100. I think we broke 100 once.
Yeah.
Like, those are, like, the only times our stream goes good. And, like, me, personally, I think we would have a successful stream if we had 200 viewers minimum. And generally, because I've been looking at like other people's stream, like Remy Down Under actually had a stream going on earlier today that I watched a little bit of. You know, just had 800 people just chilling in there. I was like, all right, I don't think we can reach those numbers, but I would like to have like a quarter of that in a stream, like 200 people just hanging out, watching what me and you do. But you know, so I find it weird that you were trying to predicate, you know, an increase in revenue by doing something that is not very popular with excuse me, our subscribers right now.
Yeah, well, I can talk. Like I said, I can talk a little about the idea there. So I did to let everybody know, in case some of you were not there or didn't hear this bit. So in January, I did a bonus stream thing, you know, trying to see if people wanna vote on more content and stuff. The poll went fairly well. That got like 40 or 50 something recipients. And yes, the stream that ended up going, Hades, got more than that. So technically a net more people. It's not super great though. It was only like 83, but I think it was more consistent in the time. So the idea was, okay, people had an interest in this. Can I flip this over to be like drive a little of an interest in, you know, are people interested in converting to patrons or memberships over this? And then we're going to try that. There's a decent amount of votes on it, and we'll probably see if it turns into any turnover. I suspect it won't. Like this, as you said earlier, a lot of this is just throwing dartboard stuff and seeing what works. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't turn over, then probably I won't do it that way again. You know, a lot of this is just trying to see if we're going in there and, you know, go for stuff. Oh, well, that's a good thing. And the you know, the process is to figure it out. But yeah, we'll see how it works. Like,
because
yeah,
like the thing is I don't know what it's fucking called, but it's almost like the Ingalls coefficient. You know, the more money you have, the more likely you are to spend it on food. And I can't remember what it is called off the top of my head, but it's kind of like that. Instead of trying to get people we already have trying to convert over to what we have, I think it'd be much easier just to increase the number of subscribers we have and then have the people from that new batch to pick up memberships and Patreon. And also, I'm not entirely sure like what people donate to our Patreon for. Like, do people, like, I don't know. Like, do people actually download the early episodes of whatever? Like, do they do it for, like, the ability to vote on things? Do they do it just because they want to support us? Like, I don't know these answers.
That's true. We should probably run another little survey.
Like, honestly, that's what I've been thinking about. Because, like, honestly, if no one is really downloading the APs, there's no real point in, like, you know, taking up space and making posts on Patreon. Because this is the other thing that I think this might be more of a pet peeve than anything. But I hate bloat.
It's true.
I do.
This is why I have categories and stuff on Patreon to make sifting through easier, hopefully.
Hopefully, but like we got a lot of little nothing videos. Not little nothing videos, but we have a lot of videos of like 25 views, 99 views. Shoot, even our Let's Talks are like very slow burns. Like people do rewatch them. Like and so most of them will get over 1,000 eventually, but it takes a while.
And our videos have been shorter later, which I think YouTube is very weird. I feel like there's a sweet spot of like if you have really short content, YouTube likes that. If you have really long content, because that's lots of more watch hours and ad time, YouTube likes that. But a lot of our Let's Talk episodes right now are kind of like back to where they were way earlier in our career, where it's like, you know, only an hour-ish, hour and a half. Because let's be real, there's not a lot going on in FGO for us to yell about forever.
No.
There will be. Boy, will there be. And I'm sure those episodes will be very popular. But, you know, even with me occasionally abusing the SEO gods and Lucky trying his hardest to make very flashy thumbnails, sometimes people just not be clicking, you know?
Yeah.
The video's shorter, YouTube doesn't recommend it. But, yeah, there's definitely like a growth curve.
No,
God
like
damn.
I do think.
Sorry, I just sorted our videos by views. The top one is our 2018 review with Voice of the Saint Courts.
Yep.
That's a horse we can't beat anymore. My fucking L5R character creation guide video is 6,511. It's crazy. And then the number 3 is fucking Wanted Scotty, which is in the 5K area, over 5.5. And I'm just like, damn, why can't any of the other Wanteds pop like that? I don't think even Castoria did that good. It was like 40 minutes. I don't know, but it's weird. Our number 4, by the way, is that one, the fucking Anime Power Hour we privated because it's on like a weird list somewhere. We weren't that one was okay to private because I don't think we were making any ad rev. It was just in a weird playlist and people clicked on it and immediately clicked away.
Yeah, and that's like the other thing I worry about our views, like how much of our stuff people are actually watching before, or do they just get in and click away? They're like, oh, this ain't for me. Like,
well, YouTube Analytics does cover some of that. Let's see what kind of stuff we got here. I'm getting the guts right now. Let's see. Overall, browse features are most of it. There's a decent amount in suggested videos, though. That's about 20%. Only 6% on search. There's a lot in others. Don't know what that category is. But where is it in audience? It might be more of like grabbing like specifically like into videos I need to check. We are getting about 20% of our views from people who are not subscribed. I guess that means that at the very least we have good subscriber retention. We need to get our views out to more people, but it is... I have seen a lot of other YouTubers in the past complain about like, hey, only like 50% of the people watching my videos are subscribed. Maybe some of you, if you like this, want to get some more action in there.
I know everyone always says collabs, but I don't know who to collab with. Like I said, I'm a fucking shut-in. I don't talk to people.
Yeah, no. I didn't even know how we would collab with some of the, like, there, YouTube has a little window that's like, oh, channels your audience watches, and I'm like, I don't even know how we would collab with some of these people. They just, like, do their own stuff. Like, yeah, a lot of people who watch our videos watch XNaya, who does a lot of, like, videos about actual current FGO content in JP, as in, like, actual gameplay footage and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what the collab there looks like. I mean, it depends on the video for Let's Talk.
But no, I am just gonna have to sit down and write a huge comprehensive survey and beg you all to fucking do it.
Hey, if we yell about it on the shows, somebody should.
Like I will get on my hands and knees.
All right, we've been going for about an hour. I need to go take a bio break, so I'm gonna pause the audio.
All right, I'm gonna keep going as I run in circles, having riveting conversation, and keep checking Party Finder to see if there's something I can fucking do.
All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, hey, we got another cash from Iridium. Let's do that. Yeah, I hear about that, but people are usually rolling a lot more than I am willing to spend. Like, especially if I lose my job or I, get less hours, I'm gonna have even less to spend. It's gonna be a very boring roll stream where I'm just looking at other people's stuff going, I see. Not to mention, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna feel like super awkward if I go up to someone and be like, hey, I'm Studio Mega, you want to collab? And they just go, who? I will literally die at that moment. Turn to dust and get blown away by the smallest breeze. Come on, one more person. Maybe we can go slap Emerald Weapon. Yeah! Yes, I am ready. No, but like I said, we were talking about this stuff Wednesday, and Loth was right. It's like, I probably should have just brought this stuff with Omega, and so I did! Yeah, Marth, you're a good boy, but you're a little shy sometimes.
Okay, I'm back.
You back.
Resuming audio.
Make sure I got my carbuncle. What the fuck is going on with Technically Speaking's portrait? Hang on. Oh, they zoomed in on the chicken.
All right, I feel like he's going to do that. While I was away, I remembered something else I wanted to bring up. Because we were talking about the patron levels and the posts. Because people can see, I think everybody can see, and we can definitely see, or I can see anyone. I don't know if Lucky remembers how to log into Patreon. You definitely had that information at one point. But,
Sometime.
But you can't actually see like how many people are at what levels.
Mm-hmm.
In general, I think the most is our lowest, our $1 tier, which could be for the audio drops or could just be for the sake of every little bit does help.
Yeah.
I have talked about that. It is actually astonishing how much the power of collective action does things if you think about it. Literally, if we could get everyone who watched an episode of Let's Talk FGO to give us $1 once, we'd be making, hundreds of dollars per video, right?
Right.
So think about that, Chad. Just keep it in perspective. So that's very popular, and I know definitely some people do like the audio downloads. I've talked about this before. We've got some patrons at a high level, though, but they're going back and they're liking all the old APs and going through the stuff, and right there as soon as I post new audio. But our other biggest one actually tends to be our higher tiers, the gold and whale tiers. And I assume that is genuinely because those people have the income to utilize and want to support us.
Yeah.
Like you said, they just want to, they like us doing stuff and want to contribute to us continuing to do the do stuff process. Because as we've talked about, the whale tier is called that not as a dig, but as a genuine sign of hey, if you're picking this tier, you're doing that because you know that's most of what you get out of this is just the shout out to let you know that hey, you support us a lot and we appreciate that part, and we give you a specific shout out.
I am horrible at this game.
I was talking very rapid fire. Can't be any worse than me. So I hope you can't be any worse than me. I feel like I'm not very good at 14 sometimes, but other times I'm okay.
No, I would like to break it down, see how many people actually, download once the audio early, how many people just donate just to help. What do people want out of a Patreon? Do they want monthly art? Do they want gifts? Do they want shout outs?
Yeah.
Same with our memberships. What do people want out of us? What do they want to see us making more of? What do they want to see us making less of? Do they think we have too many streams do we have too many streams? Do you think our content's too fucking broad? Hell, do they think it's too narrow? Is our content too old? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts and I have no answers, and it's been distressing me.
Yeah, and other than people, talking about it right now, we do have a comment section, obviously, if you happen to be watching this video at any point in the future, or current, though it is also, there's a live chat. Though that is a character limit, so if you've got complex thoughts. The only other way to do that is feedback. And we have done that in the past, and gotten an okay response. So we'll see how that one bake'ems out. Drink some water.
Hydrate.
Listen, we've been having a very in-depth, heavy conversation for about an hour. I do actually have some other more, newsy current events type stuff, if people are into that.
Well, like I said, I just wanted to get that off my chest so I can maybe sleep well tonight.
Yeah, no, it's important. It's good to say stuff. But yeah, let's see. Well, speaking of side stuff we did that was bonus, you streamed the Dead Space remake.
Yep.
To the channel. I was also there.
It was good.
I have also beaten Dead Space remake. So all 3 of those streams are out there if you want to see the whole experience. And at some point, you may want to have to grab those over and, see if there are clips to punch out. I tried to do the Bags Haunted clip, but again, YouTube pulled up the YouTube app on my phone, hit the little turn this into a short button, and YouTube is just like, I'm boken. Thanks, YouTube. Just put more stuff on desktop, YouTube. I know that you want everybody to be on their phones and stuff, but like sometimes it's easier to do work when we're on a computer. I can't do fucking highfalutin video editing on my phone.
I'm surprised how much people can do on their phones nowadays.
It's a little freaky. That's definitely something that's I think passing us by a little. Even though we are phone people, we play a fucking phone game as our major tie together for this channel, where we get the bulk of our audience. So hopefully we get some rollover there. But yeah. Overall, I mean, I don't want to give too much away. We had a little bit of a conversation as credits rolled about overall thoughts on the game and stuff. So if you guys want to tune into that, obviously you can literally watch Lucky's entire experience with the game right now. And I would encourage people to go back and check those out, obviously. But overall, I think we were both pretty positively disposed towards it. It's a solid game. I think I said like A+ in a tweet about it. Probably like a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
I don't think the game is perfect, but I genuinely had a pretty good, enjoyable time with it. I played it on the normal difficulty. It didn't seem like it was overly stressful or hard or complex. There were some parts that, got me a couple of times. And I had to, work through. But I didn't feel like I was really dead-ended anywhere in the game ever.
No.
Sometimes you feel a little close when the resources get a little flopping. But usually the game does a little bit to add there. There are, I still think, some moments where it's a little too true to the original. They kind of like missed some opportunities to maybe like evolve the gameplay in new ways. You and I both talked about how like a dodge or a quick turn would have gone a long way. Just to give Isaac a little more mobility. He does have like more general movability in the remake, but like there's still a little bit lacking there, considering that like necromorphs can really decide to be up in your grill. But overall, pretty good. I kind of hope that EA Motive does some more stuff with that. I will say there were some interesting, like, after I, did my run through and seeing what other people thoughts. Mandalore Gaming, for instance, recently posted a review of the remake.
Oh.
And that was interesting to me because he actually had, like, side-by-side comparisons, either of how the first game, the original version, I should say, looked and played, or how some of the performances went over. And it's been a while since I've played the original Dead Space. And seeing the literal side-by-side comparison definitely gave me some thoughts. It feels kind of like in the original version of Dead Space, because Isaac was silent and because there wasn't as much technology in, like, performance capture, a lot of the characters, the NPCs, were a lot more exaggerated and over the top. Like, Mercer, Daniels, Hammond, like they were a lot more like yelly and emotional, and their performances in the remake are genuinely more subdued. I don't know if that's necessarily like a positive or negative, but it is like a noticeable difference. And in retrospect, I do kind of feel like in the remake, Hammond doesn't feel like he does a lot.
Well, Hammond never did a lot in the original game either.
It's true, but I think he felt like he did more because when Isaac didn't speak, right, a lot of your direction was coming from NPCs like Daniels or Hammond. Now that Isaac can actually like say things and solve problems on his own, even Hammond feels like he does even less. So it's interesting, right?
Well, Kendra, was her name Kendra? Like,
yeah, Kendra Daniels.
Kendra Daniels also doesn't do a lot. Her main contribution to running around Ishimura is maybe opening a door and then bitching about Hammond's.
Yeah. And kind of talking about, like, oh, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I think, though, that the way Daniels feels different in the remake is deliberate. spoilers for Dead Space, I guess, if you're not caught the fuck up. But it's a really old game, y'all. But like the fact that Daniels is an EarthGov mole, right? Like she's a spook, a plant. That was one of the game's core twists, not the only one, certainly.
Yeah.
But what was part of like the vibes for the first game. And I think that because the game is while not super old, the game is decently old in terms of it's 2 generations ago in gaming terms. And was very well known in the pop culture, and some of its twists are kind of known, that they wanted to actually play Daniels a little differently and kind of like massage that scenario so that it's not just the exact same thing that a lot of people playing this remake would know about already, right?
Right.
Because like you can still I'm pretty sure you can just buy Dead Space on Steam, the original version, and play it. It's a little less accessible on consoles, but on PC it is still reasonably accessible. Obviously, with older games, there are hoops to jump through. I said, Mandalore did his video, and he talked about how he felt a little weird about doing remakes of games that are still in the pop culture and still accessible. And I'm like, yeah, but even newer, like from the mid to late 2000s PC games are not always accessible. There's still sometimes compatibility weirdness or storefront, oddballs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still the chance that the PC port from back in the day could have sucked. I believe actually there are more bugs in the Dead Space remake on PC as well.
Oh yeah.
Mandalore talked about how he got some like weird texture glitches and got like stuck on stuff. You and I both experienced some slight weirdness, mostly just physics oddities, and I think at different times, I'm thinking about it in retrospect. I think I had some hitboxing issues sometimes too, and I know you had some because they were on stream. So there was a little bit of glitchiness, but it still played reasonably well on PS5. But yeah, I think they kind of swapped up like Daniels' attitude and what she talks about and stuff because they were trying to like massage the twist in a different way because it's not so twisty and kind of change it up. And I mean, I still feel a little bad for her to have been, squished and smeared to death by the hive mind. But I don't feel too bad for her. She did, shoot a guy. That guy was crazy though.
He was crazy, but he was still one of the more helpful people in this goddamn.
Yeah, like I don't think she had to shoot him. She probably could have just retracted the bridge, pulled up the ramp, and gone.
And then she shot, the only other survivor on this damn thing.
Yeah, that one, at least she has a motivation for that. Because at first she's like, hey, don't make me do it. Give me the key to the loader because I need to steal the marker, even though that's probably not the ideal plan. But
Oh, come on.
our brains were also being melted by the marker. So it is... She has some reasons for the things she does. I don't think that Daniels is an unreasonable character. It's just that because she's not the protagonist, we're like, well, that's clearly not the way to go about this. And then the other survivor tells Daniels, like, nah, whatever, I don't got anything. And Daniels is just like, okay. And he's very bad at shooting. I think there were like 2 lower body shots in there, maybe one in the upper chest.
Clearly wanted
She was
her
like
to
5 feet away. Damn it, Daniels.
Clearly wanted her to suffer, I guess. I don't know. Let's see, what can I make with this? Emerald
She just
Barding?
sucks at this. I think she shot kind in the gut. I don't think that was intentional.
Barding and the bust.
Maybe that's her problem. She's just shitty at this. But yeah, like they swapped around some twists and stuff. So like,
Honestly, hold that thought. She probably is shitty at this because I'm pretty sure EarthGov, knew about some weird, funky shit about happening with the marker and probably sent more expendable people to go deal with it, just in case shit actually went bad.
That does make sense because she gives us the backstory of the red marker.
Yeah.
And how like it was a human science experiment and shit. So yeah, she was probably a little disposable. Some people online have like complained that Hammond and Daniels feel very flat. I don't necessarily feel that. I do think they are like literal 1-to-1 comparison. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
They are more subdued than the original version. I don't really like. Maybe sometimes there was some rough direction on it, but I didn't really necessarily fit as like, being poor in quality anywhere in the voice acting.
I think they're more subdued because I think honestly, a subdued feeling is probably good for Dead Space. You don't want to be yelling in the Ishimura where who knows what is behind the fucking vent, you know?
Yeah, and I talked about this at the end of the stream. The Dead Space does a really good job at quiet tension.
Mm-hmm.
Or not so quiet tension as the strings go mad.
They do like going mad.
But yeah, I think you may be right that, like, it makes more sense for them to be more, like, hushed and terse and a little tense rather than just be like, in the OG, Kendra is like, what the fuck was that? Are they the crew? How could they be the crew? And I think Hammond is like, shut up. Don't yell. As they're, standing on the tram platform out in the open. Them being a little more like, holy shit, is that the crew? How can that be real? That maybe, a little better.
Don't burn me.
I won't say it's perfect, but I think it flows.
Well, again, like I said, it's different because, again, we talk about this. Isaac can carry his own weight now, so emotional weight now, so we don't need to have everyone else do the emoting. Like for Hammond, it personally makes sense that he's not gonna freak the fuck out. I thought someone jumped off the edge there for a second. I was a little freaked out. Oh, look, it's behind. Let me speed that up. Sorry, I pressed R. I need to reload my weapon. Like we have Isaac who's able to emote as well, and honestly, like in a horror situation, I don't want to be with the people who are freaking out fucking constantly. I really don't. No one likes those people in horror stories.
It's not helpful.
No.
But yeah, no, and like you said, I think is it Gunnar Wright?
Yes.
Is Isaac's EA? Yeah. He does a brilliant job at, Space's most beleaguered tech man. He's just here to fix your cable box, damn it.
I don't know. I think the internet hates Kobani just as much. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, no, no, I love Gunnar's performance and I'm just gonna that final line when he fights the hive mind is just gonna live rent free for me forever. It's all like, you want this? It's all I got left. I'm like, yeah. Like that's the moment where you're like, you're just fucking done.
Yeah. Literally everyone else is dead. It's just Isaac, and he's like, all right, fuck you.
Someone's gonna die to that.
And
both of us.
Defeats a giant Google worm.
Mm-hmm.
A Google-goo. While meteors fall. It's pretty good. They did a lot of work in the textures. Like, the game is beautiful to look at. The textures are obviously so much deeper, and there's so much writing and shit. Yeah, no. So, like, it's a really good delivery, and I think that, like we said, that makes Isaac such a much more full-bodied character. And it means that, like you said, the others don't need to carry all that emotional weight. Like when Kendra's freaking out, she's not freaking out for you. She's freaking out for her.
Yeah.
And Isaac can be like, yeah, dude, I'm freaking out. Because, like I said, Isaac can literally go, man, it fucking sucks. Or you can just spam the stomp button and listen to Gunnar Wright lose his mind. I don't think you ever got this, and I definitely never got it because we're both super freaked out about ammo. But Isaac has lines for if you run out of ammo and a weapon and have nothing to switch to.
Oh, really?
And it is just cussing. Yeah. Like, he will cuss out CEC, or he will call the plasma cutter a piece of shit, or he'll just be like, son of a bitch.
That's pretty peak, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, there's a lot of little lovely detail in this game. So I don't know if I would say for sure it's the definitive way to experience Dead Space, because you can still access the original, but it's a really good way to experience Dead Space. It did a lot with a lot of characters. Nicole's side quest is really telling and important. They did a lot with Mercer. Again, Mandalore, I know I'm plugging him a lot, but this is the video that really put it in mind because he did these one-to-one comparisons. Mercer in the first game is like full-blown religious lunatic, like he just yells at you on video comms.
Oh, yeah.
This one is much more subtle and insidious, and is the best way to put it.
That's a good way.
That moment when he stasises you and introduces himself and goes on his little like weird melodramatic speech before leaving you to get eaten by the hunter is like, man, that's a good intro. Like, you know everything you need to know about this guy right away. But yeah, Dead Space, very solid. There are some interesting kind of like pros and cons to playing the remake, but overall I had a good time. I want to see more from those people. Let me see. Yeah, speaking of I'll say speaking of newer video games, let me check some stuff. Ooh, damn. So, new games are coming out always, as we constantly lament.
Mm-hmm.
Never have enough time for all the stees. All the stuffs. But some games have been coming out or will come out and be getting reviews and stuff. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Well, not pleasantly surprised. I think it's just good overall to see. But Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line doing very well in reviews terms. Got like an 87 on Metacritic. Pretty solid. They have like an accolades tweet that they did that I retweeted. That's neat. Definitely looking at that one myself. It does have the long fall, so you can make your own twinning.mp4s.
That's great.
Well, we'll see. You guys are really freaked out about the YouTube thing, and I'm like, I haven't even heard anything about this. We'll see. I don't even know if there's anything to do to
People really like
YouTube.
doomsaying. Anyone does anything, they're like, oh my god, it's the end.
I get that people are very frustrated with like cryptocurrency, NFTs, AI, whatever. Like, I get it. It's in the news, and there's a lot of bad nonsense coming out of it, and there's still some bullshit. Like there are occasionally people who will get like their YouTube channel hacked and turned into posting live streams of, you know, videos of Elon Musk and then subtitles telling you to buy cryptocurrency or whatever. But I don't like when I hear companies talk about that, I don't necessarily go like, oh no, this is the worst. Like there was a thing I think last week about Sony patented a thing about the ability for getting users or players to like rent NFTs, like timeshare them, and everybody was like, oh man, this sucks, this is the worst. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is a patent. They just figured out a way to do this. It doesn't mean they're going to do anything. Remember once upon a time Sony tried to patent the name Let's Play, I think because they had actually like a technology for like screen channel. Yeah, I know. I said it's a hack. There's a thing going around where channels are getting taken over. Like Sony, I think they meant that Let's Play thing as like honestly, it was probably like the prelude. It sounded like it was the prelude to what like screen share and share play is on like the PS5, because they were talking about like community playing and showing a video and stuff. And there was backlash because Let's Play was like a popular generic term for that video structure on the internet. So like Sony recanted, but people do lots of patents for lots of things. That I'm not like, oh no, Sony's gonna get into like super plugging in your NFTs into the PS5. I mean, they might figure it out, they might not. I kind of feel like the NFT market and the crypto market has really gone down a lot, obviously. Like, there have been a lot of major crashes and fuck-ups and shit, and, you know, the FTX guy, you know, is going to jail or whatever. Got busted for fraud and all that stuff. But, yeah, a lot of people, like you said, they overly freak. Like, a lot of people were like, oh no, Elon Musk bought Twitter. Twitter is over. No, it wasn't over right then. I'm not going to say that it's not going to break down, because I do feel like there are some not user-helpful decisions being made at Twitter still. I believe the latest one is they are planning on disabling two-factor authentication via text unless you pay for Twitter Blue.
It's very weird.
Yeah, but he wants to drive up his revenue on Twitter Blue, I guess. I don't know.
But like on these sort of things, here's the thing: I'm not saying I'm on the fence or indecisive of them. I just don't have a strong opinion because I don't know anything about that shit. I literally don't. One people can say one thing, another person can say completely fucking different. Am I supposed to believe one because they are not a filthy rich CEO? I'm like I don't.
Yeah, I guess having a lot of money does not make you. Well, some people would say it makes you inherently less trustworthy, but I don't actually think it literally does.
Yeah, so I'm like, I know nothing about this subject, and I can't really, like, weigh in on it. So, like, until Twitter actually fucking breaks or someone, gets a fucking, like, legal evidence on, like, Elon Musk's whatever, I'm just gonna keep on trucking.
Yeah. And I do want to say the converse, having shitloads of money doesn't make you inherently more credible either.
No.
I don't actually think your money should have any effect on your credibility as a person. Some people do not believe that. For either way, and that's probably not the smartest move, but you are all entitled to your opinions. Who knows? Our opinions might be wrong. We don't fucking know. But Theater Rhythm doing good. I'm interested in that. Apparently the that Wild Hearts game also doing pretty good. Let's see. On PS5, it's got a 79. Let me see. What is it on? Any others? Is it only on PS5? I've seen a lot of Witcher, so it might only be on PS5. Still 79. That's the Omega Force game that is very much meant to be a Monster Hunter.
Apparently, from what I've seen, it's more than just Monster Hunter, too. Even maybe got some, like, OG Fortnite mechanics in there.
Yes, I was actually about to bring that up. It does have its own, like, subsystems, and I've seen some of the trailers with, like, construction-y type stuff. Like, you can, summon little crates to stack to get better maneuverability. So it has a lot of the same gameplay concepts, but your moment-to-moment gameplay is a different loop.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen some people on Twitter who I know are big Monster Hunter people describe it as, like, it flows a little different, Monster Hunter, at least the way they described it, is more about, like, learning your weapon set and your abilities and then how to interact with the monster. Wild Hearts feels more like learning the monster's pattern, the beast's pattern, and knowing when to insert your special construction or weapon abilities or whatever to, interrupt the enemy's flow and, do your business, right? So it's a very interesting game. We'll see how that one's shaken out. And reviews are out, though it's still a couple of days away from release, but early reviews are coming out for Like a Dragon Ishin.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
And those are also good. 82 on Metacritic currently, the PS5 version. And the general, like, vibes I'm hearing is the main issue with Ishin is that it is itself a remaster or a slight remake of a game that already existed. So there's only so much improvement they could do. Like some people have talked about, compared to some of the more modern games that have come out of Ryuga Gotoku, the combat system is still a little more clunky because it is several iterations ago, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's not going to be quite like you're playing a brand new game, but it is still a very decent game with, lots of stuff to do. Well, yeah, I'm sure they added, like, extra nonsense for it being a remaster or a new version update, but
it's Ryuga Gotoku.
Core gameplay you can only change so much.
It's gonna have nonsense.
Well, yeah, it's a Ryuga Gotoku. It's like a Dragon the game. Of course it's gonna have some nonsense, but those are all, I think, good things to see and hear about games that be coming out that are good and doing stuff. Sorry, I'm on Amazon right now. I'm trying to check what's... Okay, fairly solid. All right. Even though that seller's run out of stock. Might have to make a snap decision on Theater Rhythm soon. Amazon's like, run out of stuff. Oh, I mean, I know they got all kinds of nonsense. I don't remember who it was off the top of my head, but isn't like one of the there's a VTuber you can recruit to the Shinsengumi now?
Nanners.
Yeah, it was Nanners. Okay. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious, but also completely on brand. Like, I am not shocked by this. The only thing that would shock me is if somehow Kason doesn't end up in a Yakuza game that way.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually bitching about that.
I do believe that, strictly speaking, from what I understand of the internet, not for sure, but I think she's trying to get cameos in like 8, you know, not like Ishin. So we'll see. I hope they get that in there.
Yeah.
Kaicho is trending on Twitter and has been for a while. I mean, if anybody deserves it, I think she does. She's got to be one of the bigger stands for the Yakuza series, and Kazuma Kiryu specifically in the VTubing sphere. But yeah, so video games, good, which is good. Though I don't know a lot about this. I'll leave you with this, chat, as like a speculation. I have, out of games that are already out, been seeing some interesting back and forth. Like I've seen some of this I think is just console fanboyism shit flinging, which is unfortunate to kind of like, you know, separate the wheat from the chaff. But I think there is an interesting conversation to be had. Like sales numbers have been being talked about for Hi-Fi Rush, the Bethesda game that got shadow dropped.
Yeah.
Which is exclusive to PC and to Xbox, and how apparently raw sales numbers wise, it has not been doing super well for like its budgeting and price point and, you know, all that stuff out there. And obviously, some of that is to be expected when you don't market a game. Shadow drops are interesting, but, you know, you're not necessarily going to drive up hype that way. And obviously, I think there is a question to be asked about how that relates to Game Pass. Like, obviously, I've seen some people on Twitter being like, this is proof that Game Pass is bad for devs, actually. I mean, not necessarily. Bethesda is now a first-party studio of Microsoft, so, like, I'm sure that they got all their funding through that process anyway and, like, had to figure out how they get their share of the Game Pass revenue, I guess. But definitely, like, I feel like it being like a neat little game that people like that is shadow dropped, there are probably going to be a lot of people who are just like, oh, that's cool, that's new, I'll just pick that up on Game Pass. I don't know if it would necessarily drive people to buy Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one pot of this. And the other is that despite the overall opinion that the game seems to be very mid and, you know, the dialogue very cringy, if sales numbers were right, Forspoken was actually like top 10 charted for was it NDP numbers? It was making sales numbers. I think I have no proof of this. I didn't actually see the chart, but I saw several people saying, I should probably run this down, that it was like number 2 best-selling game on PlayStation Store in Japan specifically, which makes a lot of sense. Gonna be real. It's an isekai type game, and probably I'm going to guess that the Japanese localization will not have these same questions or issues of the quote-unquote cringiness, you know? Just speculating. So, hey, there you go, chat, as a hypothetical. It may be that, like, you should, if you're concerned about Forspoken's dialogue, maybe you should play it in Japanese. Listen, if it's true, the Japanese audience is apparently enjoying it. So, but obviously, like I said, there was some back and forth on this. Some people were like, you know, bringing up its comparison to Hi-Fi Rush directly as kind of like a console exclusive. But I do think that people are reporting that Hi-Fi Rush did outsell Forspoken on Steam, though part of that maybe have to do with the fact that the PC version of Forspoken has crazy high system requirements. But it's just, like I said, these are just some interesting conversations kind of going back and forth I've noticed over the week. And I'm kind of like, that's interesting to kind of see these points of comparison.
Oh, I don't have Emerald Barding.
I think the last thing that's in the thumbnail anyway to bring up is they announced PS Plus, you know, higher level games for February.
Mm-hmm.
And it is quite a list. Some people have been talking about they've really been stepping up the game. So the total games that are going to be added this month for if you have extra and premium, Horizon Forbidden West, both the PS4 and PS5 version. Very interesting. They do have the DLC coming out later this year, so that makes a little bit of sense. there to kind of like drive that up. They can still make some second stuff. So that's up. The Quarry got added. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard's being added. This is interesting because I think that 7 is still on the PS Essentials. If you're on your PS5 and FPS Plus, but obviously Sony has said that that is going away later this year, so this is kind of a more permanent position. There is the Outriders game, PS4 and PS5. That's a co-op sci-fi shooter by the people who made Bulletstorm. I think some people have enjoyed that game. Scarlet Nexus is going to be free. Borderlands 3 is being added. That's interesting.
I'm a little interested in Outriders, but not that much.
Well, it is free, so you can take your interest whenever you like it. Tekken 7, Ace Combat 7. Very interesting to me that that's like now is the time they grab that one. It does have a bajillion types of DLC though, so it makes it like a decent why Bandai Namco would be like, yeah, sure, why not? Earth Defense Force 5. Somewhat funny because Russian Badger had a video on that not too long ago. Oninaki. I think I remember seeing a little bit about that one a while ago. It's a RPG, action RPG by Square. There's actually a lot of RPGs because there's Oninaki, there's Lost Sphere, and there's I Am Setsuna. And also to round out the extra level, The Forgotten City, which is that weird Explorer Roman City game with some time stuff going on. I've seen some people interested in that one. That one might be okay. And if you have PS Premium, they do actually have some other classics as well. You can play the PS1 version, Legend of Dragoon.
A classic.
Wild Arms 2. Harvest Moon Back to Nature.
Also
PS1
a
game.
classic.
And this is a weird one, but it makes sense. Destroy All Humans, the PS4 version, technically, but because, honestly, that really is just a remaster. It is a ground-up remastering with a little bit of gameplay refinement of, like, all the dialogue is the same, of Destroy All Humans for the PS2. Makes sense.
Oh, that reminds me.
But, yeah, there's it seems like it's a good month for the game catalog.
Oh, yeah, totally. But speaking of classics, actually, I want to shout this dude out. Thank you, Tony Hale, for reminding me of an Einhander made by Squaresoft for the PlayStation 1. If for those don't know, we did Keeper of the Lake Wednesday, and I showed off the boss that we Crows got our namesake from, the Crow Mafia. Troy Hale, who was in the stream at the time, later posted on both the video and on our Twitter that was actually a reference to the ship from Einhander, which is a God, I don't remember when it came out, but it was during the PS1, and it's a fairly rare game. Like physical copies of that game run like several $100s. But now once they mentioned it, I immediately saw it, and I am slightly flummoxed that I did not realize it earlier. Like the bird holding the gun only had holding the different guns, or was all direct references to that ship. Even the guns that it was wielding was a reference. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't realize this. Well, I guess it's, to be fair, it's I maybe didn't get it because I never actually owned Einhander. I only had a demo of it because PlayStation Underground used to put like 8 demos on a disc and just ship those out on magazines.
Oh, yeah, I remember demo discs.
Yeah. It was on there with like other games like Tomba and all this stuff. Einhander is one of those games that is on my list to get, but like I said, I need a lot of disposable income for that, which I do not have. So,
and if you were asking the question when it came out, it was 1998.
1998. Probably around that time that Square Enix was making some weird shit, like your Hergits.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it was a cool little moment. I saw that actually. I was like, what? There's comments on the stream, and I like had to go back in and like turn off the YouTube tab for I've already responded because you actually replied to that person. I was like, oh, neat.
No, I was excited.
It was a pretty cool moment. Well, like you said, we did Keeper of the Lake, and that has a lot of greater meaning to the Crow Mafia oeuvre.
Mm-hmm.
So, makes sense. You know, it was fairly exciting, and it's an interesting thing to go through and an interesting story moment to get my small Midgard Zorma.
Not the big one.
The little one who just appears to fucking sass me for 5 seconds and leaves. I'm just looking forward to those moments where he pops in and is like, "Thou did not think this would happen," and then he just leaves. He doesn't like comment further. He's just like, "Bye."
Smoke bomb.
But yeah, that was good. I was actually probably going to bring that up earlier in the 14 talk. We were talking about lots of other stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a pretty short what's up, but I'm definitely starting to feel that dinner thing.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, I don't think we got necessarily much to talk about here. I'm just doing my grind eternal. I am 2 gwibs away from a fucking mecha dragon. I'm about to get torched. Run! Ah! I burned.
Mecha dragon sounds like a pretty good goal.
It is a pretty good goal, but yeah, no, like
for me, the main thing I did this past week was definitely just mostly play Dead Space Remake. That should tell you how out of it I am. I don't know what doing video games is. But as usual, I like to say when I've burned through my topic list for sure, I like to circle back. And is there anything else, Lucky, that you've done or seen or read in this week?
Not. I mean, like I did get another game. I don't know if you guys I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but Lucky likes Cyberpunk and I like anime. So if something is anime and Cyberpunk, I'm usually all for it. So, like, over a year ago, there was this little indie game by Thinking Stars called Anno Mutanum that came out, and I was super hyped for it. It kind of got middling reviews. Some people like it, some people hate it. A lot of people just say it's okay. But I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it because I bought a physical copy off of Limited Run Games. I got the special edition. I ordered that shit in March of 2022. It just arrived yesterday.
That's almost a literal year.
Almost a literal year. And I feel very weird about it because I also still have I still have Witch on the Holy Night there. And next week Ishin will be showing up. And I'm pretty sure the week wait, no, when does Wo Long come
out? First week of March.
Yeah, that comes out there. So I'm in this weird oeuvre of like, I don't know if I want to start something that I might not be able to finish before something else comes out. Like,
there are a lot of stuff coming out. Yeah.
Because I did put in my pre-order for Wo Long. Because, like I said, Team Ninja does the good. I'm not going to say it's Soulsborne. I mean, it's Soulsborne's like, but a lot of people like, God, what can we even call that? Just a really good action RPG. The fuck? Whomst?
Yep. Probably. It is just a good action RPG.
Yeah. They do the good action RPGs. So, I'm excited for that. And if my experience with Neo 2 was any reason, I will spend a lot of time on that. Like, a lot. Fucking, I played it like a month, like, I mentioned this before, but I played it like a month before the fucking PlayStation review came out, and I was still able to get Neo 2 to be like my top game of the fucking year somehow. It was nuts. Oh. So I do have that. It's a 2D side-scrollery kind of adventure, but I don't know. Like I said, again, and it's not one of those things. Like I said, I don't know if I want to stream it or not. Like I said, it's kind of an old game. Like, oh, I don't know. I got a lot to think about.
But I'm nodding, chat.
Other than that, I don't want to really talk about anime in general, but things are a little fucked over there. There's a lot of shows getting delayed. Misfit, the Demon King, the Misfit Demon King Academy has been delayed indefinitely. Woo! My tail touched fire! And, other shows have been getting their own, like, delays and whatnot. So, I'm a little concernicus about what be happening. Oh, excuse me. what be
Yeah,
happening.
there's definitely some stuff going back and forth.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
There has been some outrage with the latest with translations again. Some people are getting mad at liberties some translators take, and well, not necessarily translators. I can't remember what the specific role was, but basically people who adapt the script to better suit the foreign language.
I believe it was because I just happened to see some tweets about this myself. I think it was either they were an ADR director or an ADR script supervisor.
Yeah, one of those two.
Which is basically the job to actually like ADR is the additional recording segment. So that's like when you actually like get in the booth and record the lines. That person is the way they explained it is they are adjusting the script as it is given to them by the translators to fit the scene and the actor and like make sure everything is flowing.
Yeah. So some people are bitching about that, and I am kind of on the fence of this column A, column B. Like I said, I don't think you necessarily need to go out of your way to be especially mimetic with your script writing. I personally prefer when, adaptations are just, closer to the source without getting weird. But there is something to be said about, using terminology that is relevant with your audiences. So there's that. Anything else anime-wise? I don't think so. Like I said, I could talk about stuff, but I don't think there's anything really particularly interesting. I think I talked about the big ones that caught my interest already. I don't know what you mean by not playing games till August.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You just put a lot of hours into 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd actually still be playing it till August as such as you would have just put a lot of hours in. Man.
Yeah, I know. I'll probably play it like 2 months. Well, I'm usually also pretty good about like swapping between things. Like even when playing Neo 2, like Neo 2 would like live eternal in my PS5, but I'd still go hop on for like Final Fantasy 14 or whatever game we have going on. I guess I am slightly right now. I think the game I'm jonesing for most right now is Gensekai. If I'm gonna be real.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like
X is literally in the chat being like, "Hey, we should double check what days people are free." Sadly, I think Sunday is still it.
Yeah. I did make a token attempt to see if we can organize a game on Thursday, but Dallas gave me the hard no on that one. He a busy lad. But like that's how much I've been wanting to play. I was like, can we squeak in a game? Can we?
Yeah, I understand. I feel it. I've been doing some background writing. But yeah, no, it's currently Sunday because that is, I think, our best day overall for everybody. We can probably work on some stuff.
Axe, go talk to a therapist.
I don't think Dallas is getting more.
Nope, don't engage Axe. Axe, go talk to a therapist. That is my new fucking policy. Anytime Axe says something weird, I'm just gonna tell him to go talk to a therapist, and we're gonna go leave it at that.
Specifically, if people are wondering, though, unrelated to Axe's statement, I was going to bring up, if you're wondering why there wasn't why we're judging for Gensekai, Dallas was sick recently, yes. And on Sunday was like, yeah, because I don't feel like I'm up to be here and on camera and be in a VC call with you.
Mm-hmm.
And even on Tuesday for Failed Portrayal, he was still like a little coffee and sneezy. So that was like 2 days before. He probably would have not been in the best place to game and the best place to, be speaking to us out loud in English. For the value of what words Dallas actually says that are in English.
No.
But yeah, that is probably the state we're the most Jones in. Hopefully, God's willing, tomorrow we'll be ready.
Yeah. I gotta double check the audio setup on that because that is something that has been bugging me. It's like I can never seem to get consistent audio with the APs.
And yeah, I don't really know what even that would like. I record audio as well through Audacity, so it's kind of flattened, right? But like generally, I try to keep everybody at the same level because it's recording my sound setup of like how I sound, to you guys and how it sounds to me when you guys come out of my Discord audio. And I will adjust people up and down, but usually it's like at the same tolerable level.
I might bug people for a quick audio test before sesh then, just to see if I can get some things down, because that's another thing that bugs me is our APs don't get a lot of views.
It's true.
Like, I think our most successful AP was the Session Zero we had for the Sprawl, which is wild.
It was like 5 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just us yelling about stuff. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely... The APs are something we do because we like them.
Oh, yeah.
And we think it's cool to post them and have them out there. Not necessarily for the views, but I wouldn't mind if they got more views. Yeah. And I guess we've done a lot of experimenting. I think other than just refining our setup a little, the only thing I could think to see if people would be more interested is actually live streaming them. But I know that we're a little reticent about that because it's, that's a whole nother step to be like running the stream and then also running a game. That requires like extra brain space and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know if we're down for, and I don't know if the players are down for. Like, hypothetically, if something got, weird or wrong in the middle of a session, we could clip that out. We don't usually do that because that's extra effort. But if it happened, it could happen because it's, post-recorded. If it's live, it's all live, baby. But yeah, okay. So hopefully Gensakai Sunday. I don't really have anything else to bring up. I do have to, speaking of the audio version of this, I do have to edit the audio of this together and post it for patrons.
Yeah, after you get do that and you get some food, we can see if we want to do anything tonight.
Yeah, I'll probably want to do something. Though I've talked about this, I do want to go back and finish off Judgment real quick before we get into Ishin time. But I was feeling like, jonesing for some everyone time.
Yeah.
I know I talked about that yesterday, but obviously that was Burger Coma Day, so.
Yeah, that was Burger Coma. That was my bad.
And it's okay. It happens to the best of us. But if we don't have anything else and chat manages to not derail us, I will do the outro. Going once? Going twice? Okay. Outro goes a little something like this. If you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to give it a like. This actually helps the algorithm. Why? I don't know, but it does. Give us a like.
I wish.
God, I wish. Those motherfuckers, they have it great. They get a fucking giant table, and they get people to send them terrain and shit. It's nice. And I say that with utmost respect. I actually like the Critical Role guys and the work they do. It's just, damn, they got it good. They found that lightning in the bottle. Chat did derail me on the outro. Anyway, like the video, please. It helps us out, and it shows that you did like it and can be recommended more videos like this. Leave any comments if you have them in the comment section down below. You can also join our community Discord. Link is in the video description and the channel page. If you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe. Click that button. Subscribe. Get more of this if you watched this far. And of course, even if you're already subscribed, make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we're posting a new video or when we're streaming. As we mentioned earlier, you can join our channel memberships. Get access to membership badges and emotes that you can use not only in the live stream chat, but also in our comments and community pages as well. And of course, like I said at the front of the show, and again, we discussed earlier, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get the audio version of this downloadable for as little as $1 a month or roughly $10 a year. At higher levels, you can get access to some video releases early, to topic polls and other stuff. Listen to us record Let's Talk FGO, which was posted earlier today, live every week. And just in general, it does, help support us and this whole thing that we're doing. We spent a lot of time talking about this thing that we're doing, so if you do like us and want to show your support, Patreon's a really good way to do it. And, just watching through, though, is great. As always, we just appreciate you guys being here, even if it's only, like, right now where we had, like, 8 concurrent viewers, whatever. You guys were here. We had some chats. We'll get more than 8 views overall, for sure. But, yeah, everything I got. I think this has been What's Up for this week. We'll see you guys next week for more What's Up, and make sure to tune in Monday for more Dad of Boy. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. See you next time.